Hello everybody out there, and welcome to another episode of the Talk That Talk Show with me, Barry Holmes, here for our 121st episode of the Talk That Talk Show. Shout out to Money Bullet, shout out to I Am Yam, shout out to Flip Michael, shout out to Groovy Brims on our Instagram live stream. Guys, I had a great weekend. Just can't wait to come here on the show with you all and share just some of the things that have happened. It's been an eventful week. It's definitely been a week of trying times as well too. But that's how we find out where we're all made of is trying to get through those cast iron times where you got to get pretty much bronzed out, man, and shaped and filled and molded by, the situations around us. So, I'm happy to be here standing 10 toes down. Shout out to my boy Flip. He goes, your boy is here. Let's get it. Isha by Crane also says, let's go talk that talk. Guys, we got a great episode lined up for you here tonight. We've got a lot to talk about. First things first, one of the things people continue to ask me, and Jeffrey, shout out to my boy Jeff Farrell, he was the first person, but since then I've getting a lot of people that ask me, we have 2K, NBA 2K22 that's coming out next week. Before we know it, that game is going to be out, and one of the things people have asked me is, do you see yourself buying this game, and are you going to be, getting NBA 2K22 when it comes out? And when Jeffrey first asked me this question, I was still undecided, man. Like, I'm one of those people that I feel like, sometimes sports games are a little bit, they trick us and I saw a meme where one of the grandfathers was opening up his birthday present and it was the same shirt that he had on, and the meme was like, us when we're trying to buy 2K. And I think that's true because, in the last couple 2Ks, there hasn't been that big difference. I know they had the neighborhood turned into the city, but as far as the gameplay goes, they were recycling the same animations, and it didn't really seem like a brand new game, right? And based off of that, I told Jeff, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be getting this game, bro. Like, I could probably wait till it comes out on Game Pass down the road, and I feel like, 2K has that it factor for maybe the first couple months, but then, once the cheese starts happening, then we get a little bit disinterested with the 2K. But, one thing's for certain, that it's our only basketball game that we have. It's the only one that, puts out a consistent game, regardless of whether it makes vast improvements or not. But, me personally, I definitely see myself getting this game. The verdict's out to see how much it is going to be different. But one game that I did cop that, kind of parallels 2K in the fact that, it's that standalone game for that genre. And, this game right here, I've been critical on them plenty of years. I've taken years off where I haven't gotten the game. But, this year, Madden 22 is definitely the game to get. Guys, this game has actually been able to pull me off of Call of Duty, all right? You know how much I love my Call of Duty, but, this Madden 22 has definitely been a groundbreaking game as far as, the football game in the next-gen platform. It felt like last year's Madden, like when we first got Series X and, you had the port, it just felt like the graphics were a little bit better, but it was the same game that was on, Xbox One. But, this one right here, the one for Series X, so Madden 22, there was a lot of gameplay issues that, were glitch-riddled in last year's game. And, this game for sure has, patched a lot of those things. And, I've found so much enjoyment playing this game as far as usering. We always talk about usering things, and that's where you take your controlled player and you do the things that you want it to do as opposed to letting the computer do it. And, sometimes in years past, you can give up big plays and it can kind of deter away from the playability based off of the user playability of the game. But I've experienced no, glitches here in the game. I've had a lot of fun playing online head-to-head games with my friend. A lot of things that we also are critical of, too, is games that play online. How well do you have online games, or how choppy is it based off of the lag? But I played probably over 10 online games, including some with Jeffrey, where I have a 1-3 record. Don't worry, Jeff, I'm getting better. But there has been no lag in online play, and I would definitely, if you were about to say, which one would you pick as opposed to 2K or Madden. Obviously, I can't give a fair designation because 2K hasn't come out yet. But what I will say is this: you will not be disappointed with the way that this game came out. And I mean, even on the back, it says dynamic gameplay, and I think that's the bread and butter of what makes this game a must play. But moving on just from that, it was very big situation that we had happen over this past week, where we saw, the damage that Hurricane Ida had done down in Louisiana, and we seen, just how much it affected as a true natural disaster. And, I was one of the people that, live in New Jersey, and, from what we had seen on the news and everything, it looked really bad. But, oftentimes when you have things like that it seems so far away, you don't think that it's going to affect you at all. And, when, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 days ago when everything had arisen, but, pretty much I was in the process of heading to Doc's crib, and when I had left my house that night, it wasn't even raining, and I was like, let me see if I can, beat the rain to see if I can make it down there. And sure enough, a quarter mile away from the exit, there was just dead stop still. And I'm like, damn, bro, what the hell is going on here? And sure enough, as you start to see like people get out of their cars and look ahead, we get out of the car, and, I'm looking ahead, and all you can literally see is, I can look and see the exit in front of me, but between where our cars were and the exit was just nothing but water. Just like a lake. It was about 5 feet high, right up to the barrier. And it was at that point, I'm like, oh shit, I don't know what's gonna happen, man. Hopefully we don't get washed away. But I laugh about it now, but it was definitely a serious thought at the time. And just to be able to stand up after that, and waited around like 6.5 hours before there was any movement. I had left my crib at 8:30, and I didn't get to Doc's crib till about 3 in the morning. So there's a lot that you can think about when you're out there for 6.5 hours. But thinking back on it now, especially after the next day, it was crazy just to see clear skies. Sun was out, and you couldn't even tell that there was like a hurricane or a tornado or whatever you want to call it. But it was crazy because I had never been a part of anything like that. I never thought that something like that could happen. But for me to wait 6.5 hours, still have my car, and still have my life, that's many things to be blessed about, because there's a couple of my friends that in the same town that I live in Edison, had to get boat evac'd out of their houses. I know a couple of my friends that lost their cars because things were submerged. One of my friends, we're in the process of trying to get some shoes together for him, because he wound up losing all his clothes and all of his shoes and everything, from the storm. It's so different, how this storm has affected various people throughout New Jersey. But, one of the things that I commented in is that, how strong, New Jerseyans are. It almost seems like, after everything that's happened, a couple bowling friends that, lost their cars and have, water completely submerged in their house. From the people that I talk to, the spirits have been so high. And, if you know anybody from Jersey, or if you're from Jersey and, you have friends obviously out here, call and check in to make sure everything's all right with them. Because, to call a couple of my different friends and hear all the different things and the way they were affected by it, it's one thing that when we see things on the news as far as weather-wise, a lot of times we often think that it's embellished or it's overhyped to make a little bit of news. But, make no mistakes, Hurricane Ida was definitely out and about here in Jersey. But, like I said, I'm blessed to still have my car. I'm blessed to still have my life. And, anyone else out there, if you were affected by the storm, I know that there's some resources out there, and just reach out, see what it is that can be done, because this was definitely a big, it was a big natural disaster, man. But the one thing that happens throughout this is that, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And, we saw that following day where, it was just such a beautiful day. And I wound up going to the baseball game with Flip. We wound up going to see the Mets play the Marlins, which ended up in a sweep. But it was still so surreal because, like I said, not even just a couple hours ago, you're stuck on the turnpike, and then to be sitting at a Mets game, where I had my, field level seats and was able to enjoy in front of everyone. And, that's what it's all about, being able to rise from something so terrible like that to then be out and prioritize your own self and to make something happen. So, again, there was times when in that 6.5 hours where the water was starting to come back to where the car was, and starting a little bit higher than what we're comfortable with, and you just had to try and remain calm and believe that something good was going to happen. And I feel like oftentimes when you're able to remain calm, you can pretty much overcome any situation, right? So good thing I was able to make it out of there and off the turnpike, because I wasn't going to miss my hat drops. You know that, guys. And, I was able to go through to Ecap City. Big shout out to my boy Koo, who continues to hook it up. Big time, major. He's one of my favorite people in the hat game. We've definitely been in discussions about some really big things that we're doing beyond just our pin collab. But this week was a great drop for Ecap City, and they absolutely put out some gems. So one of the first hats that I was able to cop from that drop is this cold, absolutely cool Colorado Rockies brim. And here you got the state flag in the background with the mint under visor, and on the side we got this 25th anniversary patch. Guys, the Rockies, I feel like, any Rockies hat that you come across nowadays, there has to be something to make it different. Because I've seen this hat, I feel like, in 30 to 40 different, colorways and variations. So this is actually one that I have not seen. So to see the red on the mint kind of almost gives you that Captain Planet colors from or vibes from the Hat Club pack. But yeah, this one is absolutely a heater, guys. The mint under visor, it was heat. But you know how I am critical about the Cubs as well too, guys. This is one of the logos that has been continued to get used along with this patchway as well too. And again, it's cool to have those those staple logos or those staple colorways that we're starting to see. But if you're able to pull off something different that we haven't seen, then I think that it makes it okay to do this. And I've seen Ecap City has done this patch and logo way a couple times, but I think they really got it right with this one. Here we have the Navy Cubs here, two-tone with the red brim here, and we have, like, I don't know how you would describe, but almost like a cream under visor, like a cream under visor. Guys, this one with the 1962, I believe this is the All-Star Game patch. We've seen this combo a lot with this logo and with this patch, but again, to see it almost have that, getting a little bit of Atlanta Braves-ish, old Indians type vibes with this colorway, but then also to see the cream under visor. That's definitely one that we haven't seen here. And of course, we got the stitched in battering. Barry likes his stitched in batterings. But Ecap City obviously did their thing. I love Ecap City to death. Shout out to my boy Koo. But this is also a place where, I like to diversify. I like to get, hats from different places. And you guys see the box here. This is actually a Hat Club OG edition Hat Club hat. This hat just dropped. I think it was not even a week I think it was last week, but it just came in. But, it comes with its own special box here, the OG edition hat box. And guys, when you see this heat, I'm telling you, this was easily, in my opinion, the best from this collection. So in this OG edition, this is affectionately known as the Interstellar Jelly Collection. I believe it's almost called the Space Jam as well too. But here we got the Mets logo, similar to what I have on here with the Northern Lights. But here we have The only way I can describe is giving you that Space Jam vibes, right? We got the teal or aqua undervisor, whatever one you want to call it, and then with the accents, we've seen this patch on the bacon, egg, and cheese from My Fitteds, but here we got the 1964 All-Star Game patch. It's got the World's Fair here, guys. Also came with the OG edition pin. Yo, this Interstellar jelly is one that you're not, and when again, it's what I was talking to you about. It's like you can use the logo and you can use this, but how are you gonna put up a different colorway? What are you gonna do different to push the boundaries to let me be like, yo, I gotta fucking get that hat right now? And what I've seen here with Interstellar jelly was, a lot of time and effort put into it. So I don't know if you guys can see, but the Batterman on the back has almost that metallic type look to it. So when you look at it, it gives you that interstellar look to it. So, guys, Hat Club did their thing. I've been critical on them because, like I said, My Fitteds, Ecap City, there's people out there that are putting up some major heat. So it's up to Hat Club to try and stick with those guys and not just live up just, for their name. And, one of the things that also was a little bit different that happened with me was, I had to really weigh the pros and cons of something that I was very adamant on and that you've seen me talk, various ways on episodes past. But, realistically, there was some things that came up, a big job opportunity that I've talked about before, where the school wants me to come in and, with it being in New York, the mandate at the time was, for people to get vaccinated. And, I think there was just an update today that now you can either get tested once or twice a week instead of getting the vaccination. But, I think that there was a time last week where, I was starting to outweigh things and one of the things that when it comes to making the decision, you have to understand why it is that you want to do it or what's preventing you from doing that. And when I thought about it before, about why I may not have wanted to get this vaccine, it was that, I didn't want to be the lab rat. And that was the one thing that I said initially, was that I didn't want to be one of those first people to just lie and say, hey, stick me with some of this shit, But, after some time now and doing some research and seeing that, there have been people that have been out there with very limited side effects, that's FDA approved now. So, one of the things that one of my friends says, when you're ready, then you can go and get it when you're ready. And, that time came. So, I was a little nervous, definitely was scared, definitely didn't want to do it for the longest. But, I tried to think about my future and some of the things that I wouldn't be able to do had I not had this shot. So, I took I bit the bullet and I got my first shot. Second shot is going to be coming in a couple weeks. People have been asking what side effects were there. I was a little tired a day or two after. Had a little bit of a sore arm, but it wasn't nothing major. And, by no means am I going out there telling people, hey, go get fucking vaccinated. Because at the end of the day, it's your decision. And, one of the things that, people have to have is, and I've said this before, which I still believe, you got to have control over your own body. And, it came a point in time where, I had to look at it and think about what am I doing in terms of, decision for my future, for what I'm trying to build, for where I'm trying to go, what I'm trying to have access to. And it was time for me. And my time might not be the right time for someone else. And I use the same adage of, when somebody's smoking cigarettes or constantly, puffing bogeys, if you keep telling them you got to stop puffing bogeys, they're not going to be as inclined to do it. It's something that they have to want to do for themselves. And it was along the same lines for me. And granted, the world that we're living in is changing and it's making it very harder to do things without this. So obviously it makes, a little inclination for the decision of what happened. But, at the end of the day, I still had a choice and I decided to make that choice. And, I'm not going to tell people again what to do. But the one thing that helped me to make and come to my decision was, really outweighing why was it that I did want to do it and why was it that I didn't want to do it. And what I saw was when I did that, things had changed to, kind of make me a little bit more comfortable about that. And then also obviously talking to some other people as well too, and people that have gotten it. A couple of my family members have it as well too. So, even though it was a little nervous, a little nerve-wracking, we just got it done, right? But one thing that was a little bit easier than getting that done was getting my fantasy football draft. And I had taken the last year off. I wasn't exactly inclined, or it wasn't a pressing issue for me to jump into, fantasy football, considering how COVID was, and I didn't know, how that was going to work in the grand scheme of, trying to start players and then have people be out when you're on a big money week. So, I took last year off, and I really did miss the whole fantasy football thing, because it's one thing to watch a football game, but it's another when you got one of your football players on your team playing. And to help out all of you other people out there that may be having your own drafts, I tried to give you one of my best players available for you for that certain position, and then also a sleeper for you if you're looking for something and you're a little bit later in the draft. Guys, I got a draft grade B, so I got some skills here too. My boy Jeff, he got an A on his draft grade, so he's definitely been giving me a little bit of tips as well too. Even though we're going up against each other, he took one of my guys. He took one of my guys that I was looking for, who actually we have on the list here. But it was fun to have that draft, even though I was drafting 12th and he was 11th. But again, want to help you guys out here with some players and get you thinking a little bit. So for our best quarterback, the best quarterback that you can get, all right, you already know I'm going to say Pat Mahomes. That guy, he is a sure 25 points on your fantasy team every single week. He's going to throw 2 touchdowns. He's going to throw over 250 yards. And he's not going to turn the ball over. So, Patty Mahomes, in my opinion, best quarterback that you're going to get out there. I'm going to tell you a sleeper, though. So a sleeper pick that I guarantee that not a lot of people are going to be willing to go out there and jump and get. Don't sleep on Matthew Stafford. I think that with him moving over to the Rams, having a much better offensive line where he's not having to run for his life, getting a massive upgrade in receivers where he gets Cooper Kupp, you get Robert Woods, and you have a commendable running back that can push some yards out there in Darrell Henderson. So I believe that Matthew Stafford is going to be one of those guys that if you are later in the draft and you like to wait to select a quarterback, I think that Matthew Stafford is going to be one that's going to be a steal that can help your team later in the draft. Obviously, the best running back, the great white hope, Christian McCaffrey. This guy is absolutely bonkers, especially in PPR leagues. He can run the ball up in your face. He can catch it out the backfield. He's an absolute weapon. Obviously, it's always just going to be injury concerns with him. But another running back that's a sleeper that not a lot of people are talking about, that Jeffrey took off the board from me in the draft that I was super pissed about, that I wanted. But guys, don't sleep on Josh Jacobs from the Raiders. The Raiders did a lot of running in last season, and he had a lot of success. So I feel like, Josh Jacobs now having a little bit more NFL experience and kind of sometimes it takes these running backs a little bit accustomed to finding and seeing holes and learning how to hit them. So I think that Josh Jacobs coming into this next season is definitely a running back that you're going to want to look out for and definitely snag if you have the chance. The best wide receiver, obviously, we're going to say it's Stephon Diggs. He had the most yardage last season. Some people will say DK Metcalf because he has the downplay ability. Russell Wilson's favorite target. For me, I like Tyreek Hill too. Very fast. He's going to play, big time snaps for the Chiefs. Always seems to get a good touchdown every week, or at least over 100 yards. So those are some of those top wide receivers. But I'm going to give you one that, again, is a little sleeper here. And guys, don't sleep on Jarvis Landry of the Browns. I think that with Odell coming back, and even through not having Odell, Jarvis Landry had a pretty good season. So when you have again Baker, who's getting more and more reps and took them to the playoffs, he's learning how to not turn the ball over and how to manage games a little bit better. I think that's going to add some value to Jarvis Landry's stock. And if you're looking for a flex option or somebody that can interchange in that wide receiver, I'm telling you guys, don't sleep on Jarvis Landry. And then the best defense that I'm going to say to you guys that if you're going to want to go out there, should be a no-brainer. You got to go with Baltimore. If that Baltimore defense is up there, snag them up because they turn the ball, they turn possessions over on people. They definitely score defensive touchdowns, and they have some of the best secondary in the game. So they're going to do a great job locking guys up, and especially in their division where there isn't too many potent offenses, right? So I truly believe that the Baltimore Ravens are a great defense to pick up. But a sleeper that you want to go for sure will definitely be either the Rams or the Steelers because they have that defensive front that's going to get you some sacks. Again, a secondary that's serviceable, not the greatest, but serviceable. And when you think about that, there's a lot in play, and that can really help out that team if you need it. So, defense-wise, those are two sleepers that you're going to want to take. But, before I close out the show, it can't be a show without, the review. And like I said, I've been on this huge seltzer wave. So, again, there's so many different seltzers out there. So I want to at least give you guys some options that you might like, right? So here, if you've had this beer before, it's a really great beer. I think the Kona Big Wave is one that we all really know. But Kona also makes some really good seltzers. And this one is actually called the Kona Spiked Island Seltzer. So this one we got a little bit of a tropical flavor here, something that we might not have seen before. And this one is actually called the Passion Fruit Orange Guava. Guys, this is a crazy combo, man. And like I said, again, when you have, these seltzers, sometimes they can be a little sugary and a little bit too sweet when you mix all the different flavors together. But, I'm interested to see just, again, how smooth this one is. So guys, this is the Kona Spiked Island Seltzer, 5% alcohol. It's going to give you your best bang. My boy Flip liked it when we had him over at the Mets game, so check it out. Here we go. Ooh, that's pretty good, guys. That is pretty good. I think the orange definitely you can definitely taste the orange in the passion fruit guava. I think the orange is probably the more prevalent flavor out of all of them. Isha by Crane says, I want to try it. We'll definitely have some over at the house for you, brother. So if you ever make it over to the crib, I'll be sure to save some island seltzers for Isha by Crane. But, yo, guys, like I said, with, what's this, 5% alcohol, it's definitely something that you're going to enjoy for sure. For sure. And then, finally, before I end this show, one of the things that was a big question this week that a lot of people were asking me as well, too, was how do I feel about the Lakers and if, signing all these old players is really going to work out for them. And granted, I think that, again, when you have all these players that you're getting and signing that have so much NBA experience, I think the one thing that tends to happen, and what we saw with the Miami Heat team the first time, was that when you get these major guys that all have been used to being that guy on their respective teams, it can be a little bit hard to gel and make that chemistry. Excuse me. And in making that chemistry, it can take years. It can take a year, and it's not exactly the easiest thing to do, especially when you have all those guys that they have signed that have at least 8 to 9 to 10 years of NBA experience. I just don't know, like I said, how successful that will be as far as getting into the championship conversation. We saw the Lakers were a fringe playoff team. I just don't see that. The addition of so many old players can make them automatically contenders, right? I just want to see just how well their chemistry comes together, because at the end of the day, guys, when you have, like I said, those types of players that are so used to having the ball dominant guys, and then not exactly the best sharers per se, this could go one of two ways. It can go a way where it absolutely works and I look stupid and everybody else out there looks like they don't know what they're talking about. Or LeBron could really have this implode in our face and we could see the fire sale, dump sale that he had in Cleveland when he got rid of like Derrick Rose and got rid of his own buddy Dwayne Wade. Like I said, Isaiah Thomas along there too when that dumpster still happened in Cleveland. So, it's something that we're definitely going to have to monitor and see. Also, you got to worry about injury concern when you have all these old players. Are they going to be able to play 82 games? Who isn't going to be able to play? Are we going to have any season-ending injuries? So, there's always risk and rewards when it comes down to signing these older players, shall we say. But, to say that the Lakers don't have talent, that would be absolutely crazy. But, in closing, I want to thank everybody. Strike Tyson, Tyree Holmes on our Facebook live stream. Jeff, he says, Lake Show wants no smoke with Brooklyn. Yeah, I don't know that the Lakers really want to play Brooklyn if, Brooklyn has a healthy Kyrie, healthy Kevin Durant, healthy James Harden. I don't know that any team in the NBA wants to see a healthy Brooklyn team. But once again, like I said, thank you guys so much for tuning in, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube Live, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, whether you're checking in on our website. Guys, I appreciate you all so much. And I definitely wanted to give a big shout out to the people that have been tuning in the most over these past 5 episodes, because now we are at 500 downloads left to hit our goal of 20,000 downloads. So, hopefully that will happen sooner than later. We got some big things on the horizon to celebrate when we hit that 20,000 mark. But we wouldn't be there if it wasn't for these 4 cities that over the past 5 episodes have been downloading so much. So I want to give you guys a shout out. Shout out to anybody who's in Spring Hill, Florida, man. You guys have really been showing out for us. I appreciate you so much. Want to give a big shout out to Santa Maria, California. Whoever's out there in Santa Maria, California, I appreciate you so much. And like Isha said, let's go download the show. Big shout out also to South Jordan, Utah. We got some people out there in Utah that have been dedicated to watching this show. So I'm going to tell you, I don't know where South Jordan is, but when I get off the show, I'm going to Google it and see what you guys got out there. But, thank you so much for tuning in, Utah. And then also we want to give a shout out to Austin, Texas. You guys have really been balling out and downloading this show. And it's crazy when my own hometown isn't even the top 5 cities of downloads, right? So, Edison, we got to get you guys out here downloading, man. Where's my home city at, man? Let's get some downloads out there. Shout out to Vitamin Z, says Coach B. But in closing, I want to thank my sponsors. Big time shout out to Savion over at Skydive Socks. My boy Timmy Hugel over at Ink Parlor. Want to also give a big time shout out to Jeff Galata at Air We Are. And then finally, Joe Snow and Maria at New York Life, helping people to get their financial freedom every single day. And guys, again, it just means so much to be able to come here every single week and deliver you another episode of the Talk That Talk Show. Don't fret if you don't or didn't get a chance to watch the show live. Again, it'll get posted on Instagram. They get posted on Facebook and then also on YouTube. So those will all be available. Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Shout out to Kellyanne Thomas, who's just tuned in on our Instagram live stream. But once again, guys, I appreciate you so much. I love you all. Next week will be episode 122, and hopefully by then we would have hit that 20,000 download mark. I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. Signing off from here at the Talk That Talk Show.